All right, so I'm out here enjoying the sun again. It's another beautiful day. It's Sunday. And I'm out here messing with my Winsor & Newton watercolors. Winsor & Newton is my favorite brand of watercolor. The colors are just, they're really vibrant. The hues are nice. It goes on nicely on the paper. It's a very good quality, high quality watercolor. And it's not like the cheaper stuff where it starts getting like crumbly and chalky and just funky looking. So I stick with Winsor & Newton for my children's book illustrations. And it's really expensive, but it's worth it. You know, lasts a while. So I get these little palettes, if I have them, of basic colors that I use. And I'll replace the new ones into my bigger palette of the old ones. But I just like this palette because it's a little bit bigger. But I'm racking up on these ones. I gotta do something with them. But so I basically will replace the colors that I go through and use. And I love an old mosquito hawk just flew in my face. Thinking about living on the bayou. But anyway, I love watercolor biscuits, the dry. And I just replace them. I do use liquid watercolor too, if I have to. I use it sometimes. Do white, or I actually found some white, China white, but normally I have to get a tube of another brand. And that's the thing about Hobby Lobby. I noticed they don't really carry the individual Winsor & Newton things. Like if I run out of red, I like to just go buy one instead of buying a whole palette, because these are expensive. So I'll just go buy one. But Hobby Lobby doesn't carry all that, so I go to Michael's. You know, Michael's has a lot of things that Hobby Lobby does not. That's why I've been going to Michael's lately for my sketch pad, my watercolor sketch pads, and my watercolors. But I found this little palette at Hobby Lobby yesterday, and the colors I go through a lot is white, brown, black, stuff like this. Reds, because I do a lot of different skin tones, and I go through a lot of this cerulean I use for shadows, and then your basic color I go through a lot of green, and I haven't found a good vibrant green that I like. So I have this one from the Winsor & Newton palette, and this one looks nice. It looks like a nice green, true green. They call this sap green. So I'm gonna replace this funky old green that I made. Replace it with this. I'm gonna replace my red for a true red. This is actually this crimson hue. It's usually a nice shade of red. Oops. The red I have right now is like a rose red, and it has like a pinkish tone to it. So it's why lately my illustrations, the red is has a pink tone to it, but this one's a crimson red. So I'm excited about that. I'll put that right there. And then I have my yellow I'm gonna replace, and my orange yellow. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, but I'm preparing that so I can finish with my illustrations. And also use a palette of this cheaper paint. This is actually Master's Touch that I don't like, but I will use it to, I use this palette to make skin tones, as you can see, but I'll use it, you know, if I run out of, it's like my backup palette. Anyways. Alright, so I have them all, the colors I like, I have them all switched out. But the new ones, you can see the difference, the new ones and the old ones. But I just don't have black in there. This is actually a burnt umber, it's brown. But I don't have a black in there. I just go for my cheap blacks, because I go through blacks quick too. But the only thing I don't like about those cheap blacks is like when you're gets on paper, it just looks chalky and very transparent. So I need to actually get me a good black, but so I got that together. And usually, like, I use needle nose pliers to pull them out, because sometimes, like, when they're in there for a good long while, they get crusty and stuck in there. It's hard to pull them out. So I'll get these and I'll just pull them out. So I'm gonna show y'all my little stash color. Okay. Oops. Drop that. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in along with my extras. Can't have trash around. All right. My extra stuff. So I have, this is a professional palette. It's all different names, but see, and I still have, like, this is what happens when you buy palettes, because sometimes you're gonna get double and extra colors that you don't go through as quick. So I have all this starting to rack up. And actually, I really need to check before I go buy stuff. That's really, because I'm starting to, pretty much I'll add these to the mix. So, gotta add those in there. There's another little one. There's just random old stuff in there. Yeah, these little ones are like $20-something for a little thing. This big one was maybe 50 or so. And that other big one out there I showed you that I use all the time, that was like $60 or so. But I'm gonna have all my liquid watercolors in there. These are actually getting dried out. I got a stash of pins. Oops, something fell down out there. Oh man, my watercolor fell off. Man. Alright, I just picked that up. I just also wanted to show y'all why I like this old palette I got. It's because so you open it and it's got this extra right here. So what I'll do is I'll mix colors. Well, I gotta clean it out, but I'll mix colors in these departments. And this thing right here is actually a little water tray, but I don't ever use it. It's just, I need like a ton of water, so I bring my big thing for water. And I'll use this to mix colors, or I'll use it in actual extra compartments for watercolor. Like this right here, there's a little part right in here. Use that to put extra biscuits in there. So I'll put my extra colors in there, like that. And then I will put like a few of my old empty trays in there to mix colors if I need them, have an extra color. So I have all these little compartments to mix colors and have, you know, more colors. So that's why I enjoy this palette. I highly recommend Winsor & Newton if you are a professional artist, or a traditional artist, I should say. Winsor & Newton, I always swear by Winsor & Newton, so it's great stuff. And I forgot to throw in this old palette that I use that has some Master Touch in there. This is the Master Touch, but the colors at the bottom right down here, I use these empty compartments. That's where I do skin tones, so I'll keep this palette too and carry this with me, because there's a train coming by. But I do a lot of skin tones. So a lot of my children's books that I do, I have a lot of different shades, different hues, different colors of skin tones. So, and I gotta make those myself. I mean, you can buy skin tones, but honestly, when you're doing like person, human, we're all different. We all have our own skin tone. So I make a lot of skin tones myself. So that's why also I go through a lot of neutrals, reds, and white and black. I have to constantly buy those colors the most. So this right here is usually how I set up when I'm working. I'll set up like this. I have my water, and I like different compartments of water to one I can rinse off my warm colors, cool colors, and skin tone colors. I'll put my skin tones usually first. That's usually I'll do that first and then the rest. And then I usually will put paper towel or an old little towel, right? Tuck it in there and just kind of, you know, dab. As you're working with watercolors, you gotta do something like this, you know, get residue off or extra or water off. And I usually work like that. So, and I usually have different types of brushes with me. Usually a little fine tip brush, a medium size, and a larger size. And today I'm actually trying out my little Winsor & Newton fine tip brush. It's cool. You can take the tip off and turn around and tuck it in there. It's like a to-go paintbrush, which is this is the first time I'm getting a paintbrush in with one of my little palettes, so I thought that was cool. It's like they threw in a little lanyap in there. So I'm gonna test it out and see how it does. But me, I like good old, just a good watercolor paintbrush. And I suggest, like, when you're working with watercolors all the time, just splurge and get you a good one. Get you a good one that has good hair in there and that it stays in the furrows right there, that it doesn't come out when you're doing watercolor, that it stays intact. Something finer, like softer. And a good one that this right here, this furrow, that it will stay on this part, the handle where you're holding on to. Because a lot of those cheaper brushes, this is actually a cheaper brush. This one right here, this gold one, and these will come off. The hairs will start curling and breaking. Some hair fibers will come out. But it's okay to work with. It's good because I've been working with them for a long time. But then they have the really cheaper ones that, like, the hairs are just coming out. It's just falling apart, you know. So I highly suggest working with a good one. And I'm gonna say that this brand, I always rag on Master's Touch, but I'm using a Master's Touch paintbrush, and it's been doing me good so far. I've been had it for a little while, but it's doing good so far. Okay, so far the colors, I'm really liking these new greens I picked, and new shade of browns. I don't know how much you could see good in this the sunlight out here. It's pretty bright, but the green is very bright, vibrant. I put a little red in his skin tone with the peach. I'm working on her hair still. Also, I do get asked quite a bit about skin tones, and like I said before, I make my skin tones myself. Usually for a lighter shade, I will do some brown, white. I'll put in some red, a little yellow, a touch of just a little tiny little speck of black, tiny bit of pink, you know. And then you could lighten and darken it however you need to, or you could add a little bit more yellow if you needed the color to be in a different direction, a little bit more red or a little bit more brown, depending on which skin tone you're looking for. For darker shades, let's see, I don't think yeah, for darker shades, you know, the same. I would use the other one as base, but I would add in obviously more browns, a little bit more black, a little bit more red, oranges in there, and I'll layer it. I'll put a little bit of red, a little bit of I have this burnt umber. It's like a nice orangey brown. Put it in there. So, yeah, that's usually how I do it, and that's why I just, like I said before, I make my own skin tones, because it's just, you know, it's so much easier for me to make colors than to sit there and look through everything and try to buy the right one. Okay, I just wanted to show y'all this shade of blue right here. I absolutely love. It's like a cerulean, but it's this specific shade that I have been looking for a while, and I could never find it. There was always like a shade too dark, and I love this shade of blue. And I use it for shadows, for shading. I like adding touches of blue in there. And it's right here. I'm gonna put a little water on there and show y'all. So, I don't know if you could tell here, but it's really pretty. It's real bright, real vibrant. And that's what I love about fresh, brand new watercolors, because they're in their purest state. So the colors are just so vibrant. And that's why over time you gotta reconstitute your watercolors. Like, I had to actually do that to my watercolors I have right now, because they start to get muddled. So you gotta reconstitute them, meaning you gotta really get in there, clean them with water. You gotta kind of keep rubbing until you get a lot of that muddled colors off of there. So I have to actually do that, you know, to the ones I have now. Look at this orange. It's more like a brown orange. I really gotta clean these. Yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna I'll do a video of me just cleaning my watercolors. Anyways. Look how pretty. That shade of blue. All right, so I just used my little Winsor Newton to go watercolor fine tip in my hand, and actually it's pretty nice. Like the bristles are bristles. I keep saying bristles. The bristles are really nice, and it holds on to paint for a while, and it is a nice fine tip brush. I like that it's metal, but yeah, I do like what it's doing. It's good for fine tip work, obviously. The only thing I don't like about it, it's kind of small. I don't like the way it feels in my hand. I'm used to like something larger in my hand. Anyway, so it is doing a good job though, and I will use it again for like some detail work.